That's the deletion. It takes 87 seconds to happen, by the way. And when it's done, it's a completely different world. We've gone back 200 years.
Hey, everyone, and welcome. I am Morgan Gist-McDonald, founder, CEO of Paper Raven Books. And I have with us today a super special guest who is launching a brand new book. If you like action and adventure and sci-fi and some near future speculation, this is definitely going to be the book for you. The book is called The Deletion. It is the first book in the Mindset Chronicles. And I have with us the author, who is an avid space enthusiast, NASA historian, and collector of all memorabilia related to NASA, been on Star Trek, has worked as a host for the National Geographic Channel and the Discovery Channel with shows like The Human Edge and Cool Stuff, How It Works. So all of these things wind their way into his book. Steve Truitt, I am so happy to have you here. Thanks for joining us, Steve.
Thank you. It is great to be here. I really appreciate you having me.
Of course. Well, this is a fascinating book. So the deletion is, as we sort of kicked it off, keyed it up, is like action, adventure, sci-fi, near future. Can you kind of bring us like right to the beginning of the book? Who do we get to meet and what's happening in the deletion?
Sure. So this is near future, as you mentioned, and it takes place right at the moment that artificial intelligence decides that it's too dangerous for humanity and it falls on its own sword and kills itself. But the aftermath of artificial intelligence, going away, is that every piece of connected society also goes away. There's no cell phones anymore. There's no satellite communications. It's a complete blackout of communication, which causes the entire world, good, bad, everybody, to fall into this state of disconnection. And it's weird. People don't know what to do. That's the deletion. It takes 87 seconds to happen, by the way. And when it's done, it's a completely different world. We've gone back 200 years. So we start there. And our hero or heroine, Bethany Okoyé, was the one who caused the problem. She developed a program to help AI make it better for humanity so it would never do any harm to humans. And once it realized that it killed itself. So in this gap, in this deletion, we meet Peter Eriksson, who's a struggling mechanical genius, technical genius from Sweden, who has a dark, troubling past. And he's coming up with an idea to reconnect society, but internally, through a process called integrated senses. It started when he wanted to bring sight to the blind and hearing to the deaf by putting in cochlear and ocular implants. And when that started working really well and people could see and hear again, he realized that he could actually connect them via a signal and unite their minds and their thinking. And that's where mindset got created. And it's all based on a theory called crowd wisdom. And if I may, I'll tell you what that is. So in 1917, there was a country fair somewhere in the United States. And there was a contest to guess the weight of an ox. And out of these 700 people that guessed, no one got the weight right. But when they went back and looked at the numbers and collected all the numbers and averaged them out, the average of all the guesses was correct. So they thought, well, that's weird. Let's try that again. And they went to another fair and they guessed the weight again. And they had so many people guessing. No one got it right, but the average was dead on. And that produced a theory called the wisdom of crowds, that while individuals may be wrong, collectively, they're usually correct. And so this Peter Eriksson fellow, who's got this integrated sciences or integrated senses thing starting up where people are starting to see and hear again, and he's connecting these people's minds. His thinking is, well, this is going to save humanity. This is better than artificial intelligence because crowd wisdom will always lead us to the right decision. And of course, the book is about the fact that it doesn't. Something goes terribly wrong.
That's such a good setup. And it's just such a fun thought experiment too. AI is such a topic right now, and we're really starting to see what AI can do. And you take us straight to the other side, which is, what if AI on its own decides it's too dangerous and kills itself?
Right. Right.
Which, I mean, I don't see why that couldn't happen.
Sure, in the Terminator, AI kills us. right? It determines that we're useless. So it destroys us. But to me, that doesn't make sense because AI needs humans to live. In the Matrix, AI uses us as batteries to sustain themselves, but it doesn't make sense because there's, that's a mechanical thing. Like they have to put us in pods and all that. My thinking is if you're going to create artificial intelligence that's going to help humanity, then if it sees that it's not helping, then of course it would shut itself down. That's what I thought.
It's a fair logical conclusion. Like it seems plausible, right? And so it's kind of fun to go down this thought experiment and sort of put, characters who we can fall in love with or love to hate sort of in this scenario and say like, what would happen? Like, that's the fun of science fiction, especially near science fiction. And I'm curious, Steve, if we were to sort of compare the Deletion and the Mindset Chronicles to maybe another book. So help me fill in the blank here. If someone enjoys reading blank, they would probably enjoy the Mindset Chronicles. How would you fill in that blank?
I would start with Tom Clancy, and not 2000 Tom Clancy, but 80s, 90s Tom Clancy. The book that I have never forgotten and loved was Red Storm Rising, his third book. And I read it in college in the 80s. That's how old I am. And it changed the way I saw narratives. Now, I had never really written anything before, but I was so in love with how he wrote and how technical he was and the research that he did and the passion that he had. And on top of that, a really great character or a few great characters, putting them in impossible situations, but realistic ones. And that's what I wanted to do with this book, was keep it real. I love fantasy. I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. I love all writing, but I don't write that way. I want to keep it as real as possible. So a Tom Clancy is something that is definitely, if you like him, you'll like this.
Awesome. Tom Clancy with a little bit of a sci-fi.
Tom Clancy meets, meets a little bit of Terminator without Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Perfect. Well, if you guys are here, you're listening, you're watching, and you're like, I think this is my kind of book, I've got good news for you. We're launching the Deletion. We want to get this book out to as many people as possible. So actually, you can get the ebook for free right now today. All you have to do is go to paperravenbooks.com/the Deletion, all one word. There's also a link right next to this video. You can click that link, takes you straight over to Amazon. You can download that ebook version, load it up on your Kindle app, even your web browser if you prefer. Have it ready for this weekend. This is going to be a binge read book, so you're going to want it loaded and ready. And of course, the physical book is available as well if you prefer that physical version. That's there too. We just want to make sure that you know that the ebook you can dive into right now. And remember, it is the first book, so more books coming. And if you know someone who also loves this kind of like action, adventure, near future, sci-fi kind of book, go ahead and tag them, share this video with them. So that way they can dive into the Deletion with you as well. Grab the ebook while it's free. Click that link, paperravenbooks.com/the Deletion, all one word. So Steve, I'm curious, you have all this background, right? We've talked about NASA historian and Star Trek and, the Discovery Channel show, cool stuff, how it works, and National Geographic, The Human Edge. How did you kind of pull all of these like rich experiences that you've had? What was your writing process like?
It's a great question, because any writer, I believe, will tell you, first, you write what you know. And second, if you are writing, you're passionate about something. The ability to put something in words that is almost inexplainable is, I believe, a gift. And so, yes, I was on Star Trek. I begged the casting director for 6 years to let me have one line, and he did. I finally got to be on a show. But this started when I was 3 years old, and I watched the moon launch, Apollo 11, going to the moon. And I asked my mother, "What's this?" "Well, they're going to the moon." And I remember thinking, that's incredible. And it has been a part of me ever since. And so this book, the words, the physical act of writing it out, thinking about it as a writer, my process is I think it all out first in my head, and then it just flows out of me, is an amalgamation of just not ideas and experiences, but who I've chosen to be as a person and who I feel that I've compelled to be as a person throughout my entire life. Everything has led to this book.
Yeah. That's amazing. The first of many, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to let the readers know as we're diving into the deletion? We're meeting Peter and Bethany and kind of in this grand thought experiment with you and this action adventure. Any kind of words for your readers?
Yeah, I think, give it time. I've had a few friends read it. And like any book, especially one that's going to span over 2 or 3 books, there's a lot of creating characters and setting things up. I just ask you to trust me. The payoff will be worth it. And when book 2 drops, which is the sequel, you're going to be very happy that I did set all of that up. It's a lot of work to set these people up and to get them going, but there will be a payoff. So enjoy it, have fun. There's a twist in the middle of the deletion, which you probably don't see coming. So that's worth reading. And when you do read it, just try to remember that the person that wrote it wanted you to have an experience you've never had before.
That is definitely enticing. Yeah. And that's part of the fun of some of this type of novel is that you're taking us into a world that's a little bit familiar, but different enough that things are going to happen that we don't expect. Yeah. So you're kind of doing that world building, that character development. And that is the type of book that really leaves a lasting impression, that's the type of book that you read in the 80s and you remember in the 2020s, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going for. This is my Red Storm Rising. I'm putting everything into this series.
Yeah, amazing. Well, if you guys are excited, you want to dive in, you want to grab a free copy of the ebook, get it loaded onto your Kindle. You can buy the physical version too. Go to paperravenbooks.com/thedeletion, all one word, or click the link next to this video. Takes you straight over to Amazon. Grab that ebook right now, order the physical version so you can have it on your nightstand. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Steve, for being here with us too. This is an incredible book. And thank you for taking the time to really put together an incredible world and cast of characters and all the research that makes it come to life in our imagination. So thank you, Steve.
Thank you. And thanks for everything you've done for me and all the authors out there. You're doing a great service to people.
Thank you, Steve. All right, y'all go dive in, read the deletion, and we will see you guys in the future. In the near future. Nice. We'll see where AI is the next time we meet you guys.
Yep, that's perfect.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.